These are the words to the church of Smyrna of him who is the first and the last, who died and came to life again. To this persecuted church, Jesus brings no rebuke but only encouragement. Jesus begins by introducing himself as the first and the last, emphasizing his eternal nature and divine authority. He referring his death on the cross and resurrection. This introduction reminds the believers that Jesus has power over life and death, and he has already overcome the worst suffering. I know your afflictions and your poverty, yet you are rich. Jesus acknowledges the believers' afflictions and poverty, but he reassures them that they are spiritually rich, though they lack material wealth, but their faith and perseverance made them truly rich in God's eyes. Jesus also mentions the slander they are facing from those who say they are Jews and are not, but are a synagogue of Satan. Here he points out that some individuals who claim to be part of God's people are actually working against his purpose, serving Satan's interest by persecuting the believers. He tells them, "Do not be afraid of what you are about to suffer. The devil will put some of you in prison to test you." He meant about the suffering that is coming. He reveals that the devil will imprison some of them to test their faith, and they will experience hardship for 10 days. This period is symbolic of a limited time of testing, not an indefinite period. It shows that God is in control and that the suffering has a set limit. Even so, the testing will be severe. Jesus urges the believers to remain faithful, even if it leads to death. If they endure, he promises to give them the victor's crown, a symbol of eternal life and triumph in heaven. That means he will give them the crown of life. Jesus again emphasizes that his message must be heard. Whoever has ears, let them hear what the Spirit says to the churches. This means that every believer must pay close attention to the Spirit's message. Jesus then gave a final promise. The one who is victorious will not be hurt at all by the second death. The second death refers to the eternal separation from God after final judgment, and the second death mentioned later in Revelation 20:14. While the Christians in Smyrna may suffer physical death, they are assured that they will not experience spiritual death. They will be safe and alive with God forever. This passage encourages believers to remain faithful through suffering. Jesus reminds them that he has conquered death, that their suffering is temporary and the eternal reward awaits there who endure. Their current poverty and persecution do not define them. Their true wealth is in their faith and relationship with Christ. The passage is a call to courage, perseverance, and hope for all Christians facing trials. It reminds us that suffering for Christ is meaningful and that ultimate victory belongs to those who trust in him to the end. So, my question is, what do you think is the reward for remaining faithful through suffering? Please do share your answers in the comments.